the world must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar. We must sing our songs of freedom for now and evermore.
Welcome to Voices of Change, a project of Community Shares. Community Shares raises money and awareness for Tennessee social change nonprofits. This show seeks to inform you about both our member groups, but also about issues related to progressive social change that are happening in our own community. My name is Shelley Wascom, and I'm your host, and I'm very happy to have today with me in the studio Brenda Bell and Nina Gregg, who are here from Blount County SURJ. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, SURJ, and it's SURJ, we'll say that, but can you tell us, what is that?
Sure. First, thanks for being here and the opportunity to talk about Blount County SURJ. SURJ stands for Showing Up for Racial Justice. And Blount County SURJ is a chapter of a national network called SURJ. And it was founded around 2008 at the time of the election of President Obama in response to the resurgence of overt racism in this country. And SURJ's purpose is to mobilize white people in particular as part of a multiracial, multi-ethnic movement to end racism in the United States.
When did it get started in this area? I mean, did it get going in 2008 or?
No, it didn't.
No, I think it was several years ago we felt the need in Blount County, where we both live, to have an active chapter of SURJ as a mechanism for calling white people in who may identify as anti-racist but may have not been active before. So it's a way to pull people into taking a stand, to speaking up for what they value in their community. We're fortunate in Blount County that we have a strong ally group, a strong group that we ally with, Blount County United, led by people of color in our community. And that's one of SURJ's core values, that we work together and are accountable to organizations that are led by people of color.
Mm-hmm. So you said it's an organization that is primarily to bring to sort of bring white people into the fight for racial justice. Is it? I mean, I'm presuming there's not a limit of who can be in SURJ.
Not at all, and I'm really glad you asked that.
No.
One reason we say we're part of the multiracial, multi-ethnic movement is to signal that SURJ welcomes anyone who wants to join this movement and become involved. And our meetings and our chapter is open to anybody. It's sometimes a confusing issue when we say our focus is on white people, that people wonder what we mean by that. We think white people have a particular responsibility to do this work because we benefit from white supremacy. And if we are going to dismantle white supremacy, then white people have to become part of that work.
And I know that, to be able to talk a little bit about that whole issue of how we benefit with privilege and from white supremacy, it's sometimes a hard thing for people to talk about it. It's sometimes, if it's been so much a part of your upbringing, I know for myself, I didn't recognize it. It took a long time to recognize it because it doesn't feel like you're benefiting. It just feels like that's life.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the reasons why organizations like this are important, because it's a very safe space to say, it's not about blaming. It's about saying, although we do benefit from this, now let's take a step forward about what we can do about it.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really important, Shelley, and one reason why I was drawn to SURJ, because the SURJ has articulated a stance that we are calling people in, not calling them out. So there's no blame associated for how you might have been raised and what you might have been thinking, but we want to provide a safe space and an opportunity for people to grow and to take more active stances on issues of race.
Right.
Well, and that was going to be my next question was there something specific that brought you all into it? Was it just something that you had like, oh my God, thank God this has come up and we can join it now? Or what brought you into it?
I would say yes to both those questions.
Yeah.
For me, and I'll let Brenda answer for herself, we had an anti-racism task force in Blount County about 10 years ago that was a response to racist incidents in our community, and a number of people came together and said, this is not representative of our community, obviously we have some work to do, and we wanted to be visible and active and engaged with institutions, with school systems, with local government, with the business sector, and so on. And we worked for about 3 years on a number of issues. And that project kind of faded away as people got drawn into other kinds of interests. And so when SURJ emerged as a national network, I thought, this is better. We will have people around the country we can learn from and we can relate to and share our experiences with, and that will help sustain the effort this time. And I had the opportunity to go to a SURJ national strategy meeting 3 summers ago, and that was what really persuaded me that if we tried again in Blount County, we'd be part of something bigger, and it would be more sustainable.
And for me, those reasons that Nina has described, but also from my younger years when I was active in civil rights and learned firsthand the role that white people can play in educating other white people. And then more recently, my international experience, where I work in international development, and I'm called upon to answer for some things that are going on in this country, and what are the local responses and what are white people doing, especially after the killings of so many young black men. So it just fit for me. As a way to be involved.
I was wondering, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask this, so hopefully there's an answer maybe, but there around the country, there were a lot of groups like SURJ that popped up, and a lot of them have not been successful. And I've been impressed from Facebook and different things when I see how you've managed to, in Blount County, continue to have an active participatory group. I mean, do you have any tips, or what do you think that has made that happen?
Well, Brenda mentioned that we're really fortunate to have this partner, Blount County United, in our community, and so there's capacity because there's more than one organization. There's also...
And so, Nina, I would also add that we have another initiative in town, talking with kids and teens about race, which is also complementary, and we work together a lot with that initiative. So there's several things going on.
So there are multiple initiatives with compatible interests, and we partner on almost everything we do. So while our core team and SURJ might have an idea about something we'd want to do, we will contact these other groups and say, we think there's a need for this, an opportunity for this. Do you want to work with us on it? If you've got other things going on, fine, we'll go ahead anyway. If you want to partner, we'll partner. And so I think part of the answer to that question is why we've been successful is because there are multiple groups. And Brenda, I just want to relate this to SURJ values. Brenda has mentioned calling people in and not out. SURJ has a list of values that is on our website and is on the national website, and one of them is calling people in and not out. Another is tap into mutual interests. And so we're very intentional when something comes to it. We say, for whom else is this a concern? Or what is this part of something bigger? And how can we together figure out how to address it? So it's strategic and it's intentional.
Well, and I think that one of the things that you said that I thought made so much sense is about how you try to work with all the different organizations, because I feel like what does happen is this group is moving forward on this, and and this group is moving forward on that, and if you can just it's not adversarial, it's that we're all trying for the same thing, and if you can try to partner with each other when you can, hopefully that keeps the communication open and everybody knows what's happening.
Right.
And it is a small community. So if you have multiple things going on, you're going to reduce the numbers of people who can participate in any particular one. And if you're working together to plan things, then I think that's also part of the success.
Shelley, one of the things that I think has helped us be successful is that we have a fairly, I wouldn't say planned out to the T, but we try to think ahead, and we try to think strategically about different ways to meet people. We have held a series of drop-in conversations, for example, at local restaurants, coffee shops, bars, the library, where people can come and talk to us and learn about what we're doing. We have try to keep updated a handout of ways you can work against racism that are very practical things that are either resources you can find or meetings you could go to or events you could go to. We have held movie screenings. We've held several forums, including...
I also want to give credit to the core team, which is our leadership group, and we use what we call a distributed leadership model. So if someone on the core team has an idea of an activity that SURJ would like to undertake with other partners, we just bless it and say go. So it doesn't have to come back. We don't all have all of our fingers in all of the pies. Yeah, and that also helps things
For example,
happen.
we held a successful forum back in the spring called Meet Our Muslim Neighbors, anticipating perhaps some fallout after the travel ban. And that brought together a number of people in our community from different countries, but to meet each other.
Right, and we're following that model. We're planning something called Meet Our Immigrant Neighbors. And we're partnering with Blount County United and with a new organization called Blount County Immigrant Outreach. And it'll follow the same model as Meet Our Muslim Neighbors with the focus on Meet Our Immigrant Neighbors. And both of these were born out of thinking, what kind of ideas are circulating in the community, what kind of information is not widely understood, and how can we advance the community's understanding of difference and of issues that might be addressed in a less than accurate way elsewhere.
Right, and so how did it go? I mean, when you, like the one that you did, was it that there were people from the Muslim community who just came and spoke, or?
Do you want to talk about that? You helped plan that.
I helped plan it, but I wasn't able to be there. So, yes, we invited people from different backgrounds, but who share the Muslim faith, to come and share some of their experiences in a panel format, and then took questions and answers from participants.
Right. I mean, here's where a small community and planning ahead and intentionality all come together. We knew that there were Muslim people in Blount County who came from different places in the world, and some grew up in Blount County. And we wanted the panel to represent all of that great variety. And so Brenda and another member of our organization met people, described to them what we were trying to accomplish, invited them to be part of the program, and then, as Brenda said, there was a moderator. It was a huge welcoming crowd came out. It was a very successful event.
That's great. I want to make sure we mention, and it was under your names, but that if people want to be in touch with you, there's an email address.
Yes.
And that, can you just say what that is again?
It
is Blount County SURJ, all lowercase, @gmail.com. We also are on Facebook, and we have a website, so if you search, you can find us.
Right, you can people can Google that if they want to find that.
Yeah.
And although it is Blount County, and the folks that are watching this are Knox County, but I mean, people certainly know people in Blount County, but even if you're in Knox County, you might be interested in one of these programs that's coming up. It's not very far, and and it's great that there's some active stuff happening, and it's no matter where you live, these issues are, important.
And if you'll email us, we can add you to our email list, and you'll be kept informed about what's going on.
Yeah, we have regular updates about activities.
Well, we are out of time, believe it or not, but thank y'all so much for being here.
Great.
Thank you.
And the world must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar. We must sing our songs of freedom for now and evermore.